Hi there, I'm Coach Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And in this video, we're going to be talking to you about why your ex replaced you so fast.
Because they're a stinky swine, that's why.
That's putting it nicely. A dirty, stinky swine. Not much hurts more than finding out that your ex is dating right after a breakup, and it feels very personal. You know, especially if they've given you different excuses. Like if they said, I don't want to date anybody right now, and then you find out 3 weeks later they're dating someone, you're like...
Yeah, I need to be alone.
Yeah.
And then they are not.
Yeah. It hurts so bad, and it feels so personal. Like, was I not enough? How could you walk? I remember feeling like that. Like, how could you not want to do this anyway? It just doesn't make any sense. We have so much fun together. We have such a great connection. I just don't understand. And, you know, depending upon the person and the situation, you know, if your ex is avoidant, especially, yeah, or insecure. Insecure people are going to be a lot more likely to jump into something new.
Oh yeah, and the irony of it is that when your ex does jump into something new, you can start to feel really insecure because now there is like somebody concrete almost that you can compare yourself to.
Yeah.
All of these insecurities start to come up. You start to question, is this person better? Who is this person? Was this person being lined up or prepared for when the breakup would happen? And so you start to really question everything, and it can really start to mess with your reality.
Yeah.
So in this video, we figured we would talk about this a little bit to try to make some sense of it and to understand why dumpers will use others, start to date really quickly as an emotional escape after a breakup, right after a breakup.
And that's a good point that you're saying right there, as an escape, right? Because, you know, the loss of a connection, it's very deep. You know, human beings are wired to connect. We're wired to bond with other people. Look at how we are as infants. We bond with our mothers, even at a couple of months old. And that, for me, I look at it as like a safety system, right? That's how we stay safe. We stay in groups. You know, look at thousands of years ago, how dangerous the world was, so much more dangerous in a lot of different ways. You know, so we had to stay together. We don't have claws. We don't have a shell. We don't have wings. We can't fly away.
Speak for yourself.
I mean, a couple of you guys have a tail, apparently, from that last video a couple weeks ago. But there, you know, we can't protect ourselves, and especially when we're small. You know, if you're a snake, you're probably, you know, a decent size. Within a couple of weeks, you can protect yourself. But an infant, you can't protect yourself until you're like, what? Even 10 would be pushing it as a person, as a human being.
Yeah.
You know?
And so we did find safety with one another because as a group, we could fend off threats way better. And so we are really wired to attach. And it can be really difficult to sit with the pain of separating from that person that is our safety. And sometimes people will jump into a new relationship for different reasons. If somebody tends to lean more anxious, there can be that tendency to want to fill in that gap of, I can't be alone. It's really scary for me to be alone.
It feels physically dangerous.
Yeah. I need to be connected with someone because this is scary. Versus somebody who leans more avoidant might jump into a new relationship as a deflection, distraction. I mean, both really can, but for the avoidant, it's more of that. It's more of, let me escape my thoughts. Let me escape the scary feelings here, and let me jump into something superficial that feels a little bit more safe and is not as deep or close or vulnerable as that last relationship was.
Yeah, that fantasy that comes along with all the great chemicals that we feel, the oxytocin and the dopamine and the what was it, the other one?
Norepinephrine.
Is that it?
I think so. I'm not a neurologist, but I think that's one.
Serotonin. Okay,
yeah.
so we get all these chemicals that we feel amazing when we bond with somebody. And, you know, I think for many people that didn't bond well with their mom at, you know, a few months old, they're kind of getting something that they were supposed to when their brain was developing when they were very small.
And not even to mention the novelty, the excitement. Breakups can do a number on your self-esteem.
The passion.
Oh, yeah. If you're the dumper and if you're the dumpy. So I can imagine somebody getting out of a relationship saying, I need to get my fix. I need some attention here. I need some validation. I need something new. I need something exciting. And they will jump into something really quickly. And the intensity of it can also be very public sometimes. It will come off as if they've known each other forever. They can seem really happy on social media. It has you questioning everything because you're thinking, wait, I was just with this person a week ago, and now, they're holding hands in the sunset and, making all of these really public displays of affection, and on social media too. So it makes you question everything. And it can be really, really confusing to really know what's going on with them and how real that is.
Yeah. And for the dumpy, it feels like that's going to last forever, but it's not. Okay. There's a huge difference between how it looks in the beginning and 6 months later, a year later, 2 years later, right?
Oh, yeah.
The lust and the excitement and the fantasy of someone new is very different than the long term. And so just know that when you're seeing this and that you're convinced that this new person is perfect and they're going to be perfect for each other, is it possible? Sure. Is it likely? No.
Yeah.
Not in my experience.
And you also have to remember that, as mentioned before, this can also be a way to skip that self-reflection. We talk a lot about grief after a breakup and a breakup being grief. And a lot of people don't want to feel grief. Hell, I don't want to feel grief sometimes.
Yeah.
And so people will go through great lengths to not experience that. And even the person who initiates the breakup does feel grief and loss. And so jumping into something new is a way to kind of put a Band-Aid on the problem, a Band-Aid on the wound, and to not feel the intensity of it, to kind of help them ease through the breakup. However, nobody can escape grief. Grief is something that does catch up to us. It's something that when we're attached to someone and that person's no longer around, each person is unique, each relationship is unique, and we attach to each person uniquely. And so it can seem like, oh, well, they're gone, and then they're just going to bypass the whole breakup process, and I'm over here in pieces and a wreck. It's not quite how it works. Grief still impacts the person who ends the relationship, just at a different timeline and at a different pace.
Yep. Everybody's different. And that's assuming that the person that did the breaking up or the dumper is in a healthy place to begin with. So many dumpers are depressed before the breakup.
Oh, yeah.
Right? They're not in a good place. And so, dating somebody new makes them feel alive. They may have been feeling numb or bad about themselves or, unhappy with who they are or where their life is at. And so the excitement and all the chemicals released from the new person makes them feel great temporarily.
And you also have to remember that although they're getting this kind of false sense of starting fresh, there is still those attachment issues lingering in the background. So your ex, if they presented in your relationship with difficulties connecting, with difficulties working through conflict, with relationship issues and relational struggles, likely those are patterns that will repeat into their next relationship.
Absolutely.
It's not a curse, but patterns are likely to repeat, hence why they are called patterns. And sometimes it takes a while before those start to show up. When you first meet someone, it's not like most people will put all the cards on the table. And most people will not feel comfortable enough for those patterns to really start to show up yet. It takes time. It takes getting close. It takes conflict itself to bring up how you deal with conflict. And so don't believe everything you see if you do see your ex moving on very quickly after a breakup. Of course, there are situations where people do meet the love of their life right after a breakup. We can't say that that doesn't happen.
It's just rare.
Yeah, it's rare, and people still need to be able to know how to work through a relationship. People still need to be willing to work through their attachment wounds and through their attachment issues to make things work.
And I just want to take a moment to get you guys, I know we're focusing on the ex right now, but it's very important that you figure out your attachment issues, because if you don't work on those things and they come back and they have the same pattern and you have the same pattern, it's just going to go back to what it was, and it's going to wind up leading to another breakup. So this is why we tell you, you've got to spend your time obsessing about personal growth. Stop obsessing about this new person. I know if your ex is dating someone new, you're probably checking both of their profiles 20 times a day. Okay, and that's a slow day.
Yeah.
So, but that's a waste of time. I'm telling you, it's a waste of time. You can do it if you want, but you're going to find at some point either your ex reaches out or they don't ever reach out. But if they do, you're going to think about, what am I supposed to be doing? Oh my gosh, I should have been working harder. I didn't really do the personal growth and no contact. And then you wind up in another breakup and then you feel even worse.
Right.
It doesn't matter what they're doing right now. You can get caught up in it, but ultimately you got to do that work and figure out what went right, what went wrong, where do you need to grow, how can you step up, how can you make sure the patterns are better and you have something healthier if they come back.
Right. And I would also add to keep your eyes open, right? If somebody is moving into a relationship very quickly after a breakup, of course, the question comes up of, is there any overlap, right? We always encourage you all to protect yourself, right? We don't want you to be paranoid, but we want you to take adequate precaution to protect your heart and to choose partners that are aligned with you. And if you are leaning more towards personal growth, if you are working through your attachment issues, then we would also hope that you would find a partner who's aligned with that. So keep your eyes open. If you notice that your ex is moving quickly into another relationship, notice that behavior. If they are if they are ready to work through things again together, are they willing to talk about what that was like and what that was?
Yeah.
Because that's going to be an important part of it. I'm just thinking of my Sicilian mother saying, "Occhio," which means eye. It'd be like the thing she would say when she's like, observe, be aware.
Yeah.
So just keep your eyes open and think about what you want for yourself. I know it can be really distressing to see your ex in a new relationship. The instinct is to compare yourself and kind of put your ex and the new person on this kind of pedestal. Bring yourself back down to reality. Real healing takes time. Give yourself that time. We can control what we can do. We can't control what other people do.
Yeah. A lot of times exes jump into something new. It's very painful when it happens, but a lot of people do this, especially insecure people. Okay? Healthier, secure people are more likely to take their time. They're more likely to reflect on the relationship. Why it didn't work? What did they do that they need to work on? What went wrong? Like they have to assess the situation too. That's what healthier people are going to do. But insecure people are afraid to be alone. They are scared, they're anxious, and so they want to jump into something new. And they want to get those needs met. They want to exploit in some ways someone new that they don't really know to meet their needs. And then that may fall apart after several months, which is what often happens, right?
Right.
So as painful as it is to see your ex dating somebody new, the likelihood of it lasting is low. I mean, we talk all the time about relationship statistics. The divorce rate is like 60% in a lot of places, right? And so what are the chances that a rebound is going to last? In my experience, it's very low. Does it happen? Yes, but rarely. So focus on the personal growth. Focus on what went wrong. Where can you improve? What can you do better if they come back? How can you have something great if they come back, if you decide to repair it? Because you may get to a point where you say, no, this isn't really working for me. I don't like where this relationship was going, and I want to find somebody new. That's fine too. But we know many of you want another opportunity with your ex. And a big part of what you have to do right now is focus on the breakup, what went wrong, what your attachment issues are, how you can grow. Try to spend less time obsessing about your ex and this new person. Because in my experience, it falls apart most of the time. And when it does, they often reach out, as long as you've left them alone. Mm-hmm. If you're harassing them, reaching out, you don't let them go, they don't have any fear of losing you, yeah, they're not likely going to reach out. But the sooner you go into no contact, as we teach it, no reaching out, and just get focused on that personal growth every day, the more likely you're going to get to a great place sooner than later, process your breakup, heal, and grow, and put yourself in a better position to turn it around when they do reach out.
Right? And you also want to keep your eyes open for what you are looking for versus what you're not. Some of you just aren't okay with this kind of scenario, and you see your ex dating someone right away. It hurts, and it's hard for you to even reconsider it yourself. So think about what you want. We know everyone's different and everyone sees these situations differently.
Hopefully this one's been helpful for you. If you'd like to get our help personally, you can do that on my website, askcraig.net. I do email coaching and I do Zoom calls. Coach Victoria is also available for Zoom calls.
I'm here whenever you'd like to chat.
Just click on her name on the top of the website to schedule with her. That's it for this video. I'm Coach Craig Kenneth.
And I'm Coach Victoria.
And we will talk with you soon.